The surface of the world here is not rock or soil, but a shifting, fractured membrane of frozen salt water. The Arctic Ocean in midwinter is a realm of perpetual darkness and howling winds, where temperatures routinely plunge to 40 degrees below zero. It is a landscape defined by its absolute hostility to life, a place where the ocean itself hardens into a jagged, crushing topography of pressure ridges and drifting flows. Yet across this desolate and terrifying expanse, a solitary shadow moves with silent, deliberate purpose. This is the domain of the polar bear, Ursus maritimus, a marine mammal perfectly engineered for an environment that is actively trying to kill it. They are the apex predators of the frozen north, masters of a biome that exists only in a delicate thermal balance. Every inch of their massive anatomy is a testament to extreme evolutionary specialization. They do not merely endure the freezing cold of the polar night. They weaponize it to their advantage. Beneath a thick canopy of hollow, translucent guard hairs lies a dense undercoat, trapping a layer of insulating air against jet-black skin designed to absorb every photon of available sunlight. Below that skin sits a specialized layer of blubber, an adipose tissue up to 4.5 inches thick that serves as both a thermal fortress and a crucial energy reserve. This physiological armor is so incredibly effective that a polar bear's primary thermal challenge is not freezing, but overheating during brief bursts of exertion. Their massive paws, spanning 12 inches across, act as biological snowshoes to distribute their immense weight over fragile ice crusts, complete with textured footpads to grip the slickest, most treacherous surfaces. The ice is not just a landscape, it is a vital hunting platform. The bears rely entirely on this frozen scaffolding to access their primary energy source. They are ambush predators of the highest order, utilizing complex hunting strategies to secure prey that exists largely beneath the frozen surface. Without the solid foundation of the sea ice, the bear is fundamentally cut off from the rich marine ecosystem that sustains its massive caloric needs. Their target is almost exclusively the Pusa hispida, or ringed seals, creatures that spend their lives in the freezing waters below. These seals carve breathing holes through the thick ice, maintaining them with the sharp claws of their front flippers throughout the winter. The polar bear detects these microscopic vents from miles away, using an olfactory system capable of sensing a seal beneath 3 feet of compacted snow. The bear will wait in absolute stillness for hours, or even days, beside a single fracture in the ice. It is a masterclass in predatory patience. When the seal finally surfaces to take a breath, the bear's strike is explosive, instantaneous, and devastatingly precise. This ancient, brutal choreography of predator and prey is entirely dependent on the seasonal rhythms of the Arctic sea ice. For countless millennia, the ocean surface would freeze solid in autumn, reaching its maximum physical extent in March, before slowly retreating through the brief, sunlit summer. This cyclical expansion and contraction dictated the migration, breeding, and feeding patterns of everything in the high north. It was a reliable geological heartbeat that governed the entire polar ecosystem. But that ancient rhythm is breaking. The Arctic is currently warming at a rate of roughly 0.7 degrees Celsius per decade, a phenomenon driven by global climate change that outpaces the rest of the planet by a factor of 4. The summer melt now begins weeks earlier and lasts far longer, while the winter freeze arrives late and forms thinner, highly unstable crusts. The vital platform that these bears depend upon is literally dissolving beneath their massive paws, transforming a solid hunting ground into an unpredictable, fragmented archipelago of melting flows. Modern science has laid bare the stark reality of this rapidly disappearing world. Satellite telemetry and extensive aerial surveys have allowed researchers to track the movements of collared bears with unprecedented, pinpoint precision. The incoming data reveals a forced, dramatic behavioral shift. As the ice edge retreats further north into deeper, less biologically productive waters over the central polar basin, the bears are left stranded on barren land or forced into grueling marathon swims across vast expanses of open water. These long-distance traverses demand a catastrophic caloric toll on the animals. While polar bears are exceptionally powerful swimmers, capable of paddling continuously for days at a time, they are not aquatic hunters. Water conducts heat away from the mammalian body 25 times faster than air. A continuous swim of several hundred miles across the frigid ocean burns through the very blubber reserves required to survive the impending summer fasting period. Some adult bears simply exhaust their energy banks and drown, while vulnerable young cubs face even steeper, often insurmountable odds of survival in the churning ocean swells. To survive the increasingly lengthy ice-free seasons, the bears must rely on extreme physiological conservation. When stranded on terrestrial shores, they enter a profound metabolic state known as walking hibernation. Their metabolism plummets, their core body temperature drops slightly, and they begin to recycle their own urea to synthesize vital proteins, preventing catastrophic muscle degradation while they fast. They wait out the summer months on the rocky coastlines, their eyes fixed constantly on the northern horizon, anticipating the eventual return of the frozen ocean. Driven by intense, gnawing hunger, some bears attempt to exploit terrestrial food sources to bridge the gap. They scavenge bird colonies, consume washed-up kelp, or hunt small land mammals like Arctic foxes. Yet, rigorous scientific measurements of their caloric expenditure prove this is a losing battle. The minimal energy gained from a clutch of goose eggs or a scavenged caribou carcass cannot possibly offset the massive metabolic demands of a half-ton predator designed by evolution to run exclusively on high-fat marine blubber. The land offers only a temporary, dangerous illusion of sustenance. The shifting dynamics of the high north have fundamentally altered human exploration and indigenous life alongside the wildlife. Early historical Arctic expeditions often found themselves hopelessly trapped in crushing pack ice, their heavy wooden hulls splintered by the sheer, unstoppable force of the frozen sea. Today, modern research vessels easily navigate vast stretches of open waters where impenetrable, multi-year ice once stood, documenting the rapid ecological transformation. Researchers on these ships deploy sophisticated drones and underwater submersibles to map the thinning ice from below, capturing the fragile, decaying architecture of a collapsing biome. The loss of this vast white expanse triggers a dangerous planetary feedback loop known as the ice albedo effect. Bright white sea ice reflects up to 80% of incoming solar radiation harmlessly back into space. As it melts away, it exposes the dark, churning ocean water beneath, which actively absorbs that solar heat, further accelerating the warming of the entire Arctic region. The disappearance of the ice is not merely a localized habitat loss for a single species. It is the systematic removal of Earth's vital thermal shield. Caught directly in the crosshairs of this accelerating geological shift, the global polar bear population is rapidly fragmenting. In regions like the Chukchi Sea, some subpopulations currently maintain relatively stable numbers due to temporary nutrient-rich upwellings of biological productivity. However, in the southern Beaufort Sea and western Hudson Bay, the prolonged, unnatural absence of ice has led to sharp declines in overall body condition, significantly lower cub survival rates, and alarming population drops. The geographic map of their survival is shrinking year by year. Yet, the resilience of life in extreme environments often defies our darkest expectations. Recent, groundbreaking genetic analyses have uncovered a distinct, highly isolated subpopulation of polar bears living in the fjords of southeast Greenland. These remarkable creatures have adapted to hunt directly from freshwater glacier melange, using the fragmented chunks of ice calving off the massive Greenland ice sheet as a substitute for the missing sea ice. It is a stunning display of behavioral plasticity, a desperate but ingenious evolutionary pivot in the face of widespread ecological collapse. This incredible discovery offers a solitary glimmer of biological defiance, but it cannot mask the broader, undeniable trajectory. The polar bear is locked in a relentless, unforgiving race against the melting clock. Their survival strategies, honed to perfection over hundreds of thousands of years of brutal evolutionary pressure, are now being pushed beyond their absolute limits. They stand today as the ultimate, tragic sentinels of the Arctic, enduring the disappearance of their world with a raw, unyielding tenacity. Their fate remains inexorably tied to the ice, a profound testament to the fragile, interconnected balance of our rapidly changing planet.